Hi everybody, always into something. Today we're working on a 2024 Honda Pioneer 700. We've got a couple of these in the family. Today we're doing a snorkel on it. I've mimicked it off some of our other years. We've got two 2016 models. Mine's a two-seater, my daughter's is a four-seater, this is a four-seater. So we're just kind of duplicating what we had on that. Got a list of parts, like I say, I pre-assembled and cut everything based off of what we had. I'll get a list of that. And then just to get right into this thing, you want to get the bed up. The four-seaters are a little different. You've got a cover. Mine's completely open here because I don't have the seats. This is the floor for the second row. So we're going to get this plastic off. This should be a pretty straightforward deal. So this is the existing snorkel, and we're just gonna cut that out, and we're gonna bring this up, come right underneath this seat belt, and then come right up next to this header and come back. And I'm sorry it's a little dark in here, but it's raining outside, so it's just a little dark. But we're gonna get these panels off and we'll get started. All right, so while he's working on that, I just do a quick recap here of the materials that we need. So we start off, we've got 7. This is all 2-inch PVC, by the way. You could probably use ABS as well, but these are pressure fittings. So these are 2-inch 45 pressure fittings. You need 7 of those. This is a 2-inch waist fitting, a DWV 2-inch 90, and then this is a street fitting 2-inch 22. So a street 22 2-inch DWV again. All this stuff's available at Home Depot. This is just 2-inch PVC, and you can see I've kind of gone through, and like I say, I will add a list in the first comment of the sizes, but you need a 4, 4.5, 3 3/4, 3 1/4, and then you need 3 2.5s, and then these are 2-inch rubber fern coats, and there's no way of getting around those. You got to have a couple of those. And then this is just some brackets so that we can support the top of the snorkel. Again, this is kind of the setup that I've used. And these are split ring clamps. These are plumbing fittings, maybe electrical fittings as well, but this one is for 2-inch IPS. This is for 1 1/4 IPS. This is going to go around the support on the side by side, and then we've just got us a little piece of all thread, and then I've got a couple nuts that I'm going to back down so these don't move and stay nice and tight. Once we get everything prefabricated, put in place, we'll pull it all back off, paint it so it looks nice. We use like some good bed liner paint. Seems to hold up really well. And pretty simple. We'll get on it in just a minute. Okay, so there's just a variety of clips around the side. There's tools for this, but it's pretty much that easy. Just take a screwdriver, hold that real quick, and you just pop up on the top of that. Trying to get this to come out a little better. So that pin just pushes in, pull out on that, and then it just wedges the bottom of it. But it just pops those out, take out everything. I think there was a couple actual screws or bolts that were in these. Just take those out as well. And then this piece is ready to come out. Up, you might have one more up there.
You see it?
I think this is it right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so panel's all out. And the first thing we got to do is kind of prefab this first assembly. So my first piece is 4-inch long. I've got the 2-inch pressure 45, and then I've got the street 22. And you'll see this is just kind of a weird little angle. But, you know, I got to get this kind of pieced in and line it up down there where it meets the snorkel. And I need to do a mark and cut it. But you can see, you know, that runs exactly where that sits in place. So once we cut this, and where we cut it to, if you ever wanted to replace it, the same Fernco that we're using there, you could just reuse it and it could be right back to factory. There are a couple bolts we'll have to remove to get this out as well, but our first thing is to cut it so we can pull it out. Okay, so we got the factory snorkel out, and I just, like I showed you, I kind of lined that up. I made a mark on my factory snorkel hose, and then I cut it. This is where your first 2-inch Fernco goes. I'm not sure if this is a fuel line or what this is. Just be careful around that. There's some brackets you can take loose and give you a little more room. But yeah, get that Fernco on there. This is the first piece. Whatever I told, said it was 4 1/4, I believe. And this is all dry fit because you got to kind of position it all in place. And then, so I've got my 2-inch 45, 2-inch Street 22, and you can see it's just kind of, you know, a little crooked. So I just got to manipulate that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to manipulate it, and I'm going to go ahead and put marks on all my fittings so I can prefab this as much as possible. Then once I've got it all marked, I'll come back and glue everything in at least to one point. So let me just play with that. I'll get those marks. We'll go ahead and get those all glued up and start working on the stack. Okay, so we've got the piece in. I've got this glued up, and I glued it all in place as I went. So I've got that. You got to get that 22, got it lined up, glued my marks up. I've got this piece glued in, which is 12 3/4 inches. So now we're going to start going up. So the next thing we do, again, I'm just dry fitting this stuff in place. But that's our next fitting is 90. Then we're going to go with the 4 1/2. The 2 1/2. Now, mind you, that 2 1/2 will make these two fittings they'll come right tight against each other. You won't even see a gap there. They're barely in the slot. But I'm just doing it so I can get my angle on the 90. I'm going to go ahead again and mark my pipe and fittings so my angles are right. So I'm just going to play with this a little bit, manipulate it, and put some marks here and here. And then I'll get all this glued up again. And that's one part of it done. Okay, so I got everything dry fit in there again. I've just marked my pipes and my fittings. This 90 degree is kind of crucial. You can see we kind of prefab this up so that we've got our angle right. We've already like put the piece up from here too, so we could tell what angle. This is where the Fernco is going to go. But so after this long piece, you got the regular DWV 90. I've got a 4 1/2 inch piece. I pre-glued that 2 1/4 or 2 1/2 piece in there, and you can see that's just fitting to fitting now. And then I haven't glued this, but this is where the Fernco is going to cover most of this. It's going to go over that. So let me get this glued up, and then we'll keep going up. Okay, so you can see I marked my pipe there, got that glued up. That's the 4 1/2 inch, the 2 1/2 in between, or 2 1/4. Then I've got the 3 1/4, and then I prefabricated this part because the Fernco goes on here, so this can all be kind of wiggled around, and it's going to go right like so. So I'm just going to put that Fernco on, but there's my two pieces. I just wanted to show you that because you lose some of that with the fitting on there. So one's 3 1/4, one's 3 3/4. So we'll get that on, and then really there's nothing left. We're just going to throw some 45s on the top. So we'll just show you everything when it's done. Okay, so like I said, nothing's really tightened up on the rubber Ferncos, but everything's in place. Comes across, comes around your seat belt, holder, the seat belt should still work. In fact, you can see it's already out. So this still works with the seat belt. But you come up, you got your 245s, the other Fernco, you got 145, and then your stack comes up. Like I've just got this on there loose, but that's the 15-inch piece. And then these brackets just work out, really good. You can see I don't have them latched, but come here and hold this real quick, Cameron. Just kind of set that other bracket back. So it goes around there. Yeah. I could have put a screw on there, but we're going to take this off and paint it, so I wasn't bothering it. But anyway, so that's how that is. And then it just comes on up. And you could put a 90. If you want to put a longer piece instead of that 15 and do a 90 up here, that's fine. We just did 345, so it's nice and, got a good flow to it that way. But just real quick, we're just going to show you, even though these Ferncos and stuff are loose, go ahead and start it. We've done smoke tests and everything else, but just a quick test. This will tell you how well it works. And just simply do this. Stalls, hear that vacuum? So it's tight, it's good. I mean, that's a quick and easy test. If it didn't stall or you didn't feel that vacuum on your hand when you pulled it loose, you probably have a leak somewhere, and then you would definitely want to do the smoke test on it. But to take this apart, all you got to do is take this Fernco out. This whole piece comes out. That's how he's going to paint it. And then taking that lower Fernco out, same thing. This whole piece can just simply come out. So it's a pretty neat setup. Like I say, this is the third Honda we've put it on. And then I don't know if we're not going to be able to do it today, but if you're snorkeling the bike for water, which we live in Florida, it's a necessity. It's not something I'm a fan of. Like, we don't just ride around in water, but a hole could look 12 inches deep, and the next thing you know, it's 3, and you just sunk a $6,000 motor. So, all that being said, there's a hose here that goes to the rear diff, which you'll want to bring up and take it as high as your snorkel, or most people typically do. There is a vent under the passenger seat for the gas tank. Same thing. Just run it up one of these lines, get it nice and high. In the front, and if we can film this, we will. We just got a trip coming up, so there's a lot going on. But front diff, and then there's also a vent line. See if you can pop this off real quick. Grab a flashlight. So they actually use clear tube on this, but you can see how it just goes. Let me get my hand out there. See how it goes right into the frame? That's kind of how it's vented now. But you'll want to extend that, and I would run everything separate. So you're going to have 4 total lines coming out. And underneath the driver side is the pillar that goes up the side of the Pioneer. Now, I ran mine and just ran them all the way up here and just terminated them. And they just kind of rest inside that pipe. So that's just a couple ideas. But you will have to cut off short pieces of each one of those lines, take them to the hardware store or parts store or whatever, and get those run up, because let's see. So yeah, there's the vent line. Reach over there and touch that, Cameron.
There's one right here.
Yep. So there's the vent line for the front diff. Just find where it goes and get those 4 up, and you're snorkeled. If we can do a video on that, we will. If not, that kind of gives you an idea what you need to do. Very not technical at all. So there you go. 2024 Pioneer snorkeled, and we're always into something. We appreciate it. If we're helping you, please let us know. Any comments, like, subscribe. We appreciate it. We're just hoping we're helping some people. We've been watching YouTube forever, so it's Just gives us a chance to pay it back a little bit. So look back for another video. Always into something.